Welcome to Florence County Museum's Family Day at Home. I'm Kimberly Washburn, Curator of Education at the Florence County Museum, and today we're going to begin by creating our nature prints inspired by Anna Heyward Taylor. To begin, you're going to want to grab the instruction sheet out of your Family Day at Home kit, and you're going to take the items that are listed under nature prints out of your bag. So you're going to need a newsprint square, your sticky back foam sheet, it'll be colored on one side and white on the other, your cardboard printing plate, a stylus stick, a sponge. You're going to want to wet this and wring it out well before you begin so that it's soft and pliable, a cup of black paint, and a colored sheet of construction paper. You're also going to want to gather a few things from around the house. So you're going to need a pencil or a pen and a pair of scissors. Anna Heyward Taylor was born in 1879 in Columbia, South Carolina. She was a botanical illustrator and printmaker. During a trip to Japan in the early 1900s, Anna Heyward Taylor became exposed to Japanese woodblock printing, and that exposure would influence her artistic career for the rest of her life. She would often take subject matter that she found in nature and use that as a basis to create woodblock prints. Today we're going to create a simple print that uses a similar technique but without the difficulty of woodblock printing. So we're going to begin by finding something outdoors that inspires you, some type of nature. It could be a flower, a plant, it could be a tree, it could be something very, very simple that you find indoors, a little part of a house plant, or something big outside. But whatever inspires you, take a good look at it, go outside in nature, find something that you are inspired by, and then get ready to create your print. I've taken a leaf off of one of my favorite plants from the museum's courtyard called a vitex. So this is the vitex leaf, and I'm using this as the inspiration for my print today. I brought a little piece of that leaf inside to work from, but I could have just as easily taken my sketching outdoors. I didn't have to pick anything necessarily to create this print. So here's my leaf, and I brought it inside, and I'm going to use my newsprint square to do a little sketch. Now, a sketch isn't a large finished artwork, it's just a quick drawing that we're going to use in preparation to create our print. So you're going to want to spend a little bit of time getting your sketch the way that you would like it to be. You can erase. If you mess up on the front, you can flip over on the back. This is not going to be your finished artwork, so you don't need to stress out about it. Before we started today, I've already gone ahead and done my sketch. So here's my little sketch of the vitex. It's nice and simple. This project does not lend itself to a lot of detail, so please keep your lines nice and simple. Simple lines and shapes work best with this process. So here's my simple sketch of the vitex. Now, once you have your sketch down, I did mine in pencil, but if all you have is a pen, that works too. Once you have your sketch down, you're going to take your sticky back foam, and on the colored side, not the white paper side, on the color side, you're going to copy your sketch onto the foam. Now, it does work a little bit better with an ink pen, but if all you have is a pencil, this will work fine too. And if you don't have a pencil or a pen that will work for this, then you can use your stylus stick. It's just a pointed stick that you can use to press into the foam. So I've already done that here. I've copied my drawing onto the sticky back foam. Now, these lines that I have here in the center of my sketch, I can use my stylus stick or my ink pen and go ahead and draw those in. So I'm going to draw those lines in. Again, if you don't have an ink pen or a pencil, just use your stylus stick and just gently press in. You don't want to press so hard that you tear up the foam, but you can give it a little bit of practice and you'll find just the right amount of pressure. So now that we have that completed, we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut out the shapes of our design. You want to cut out each shape individually if you have multiple shapes. If all you have is one big shape, then you can cut out the outline, but you're really going to want to impress those detail lines in the middle, press them down really well with a pen or a pencil. Now I've already cut this out of another piece of foam just to make it quick and easy. So I'll show you what I have right here. So I've cut out the pieces of my design, just like this. All the pieces are separate, and I have these nice lines in the middle of my leaves, and I'm going to make sure that they're pressed in really well. I'm going to go over them several times with my pen or my pencil or my stylus stick, whatever you're using. An ink pen works really well on this foam, but if you don't have one, that stylus stick will work just fine. And I'm going to put this design onto my cardboard printing plate. So, my cardboard printing plate is here. Remember I told you this was sticky back foam. So the back has a paper that's covering that sticky back. You're going to peel it off just like a sticker. And I'm actually going to start with this little piece so that I can arrange it just the way I want. You may want to try to arrange it on your board first to see how everything is going to fit, and then peel off the backing. I'm going to start by just putting that in the corner. And then arrange my leaves the way that I want them. And I think that that looks good. So then I'll just peel off the backing and stick them right down to the cardboard. Just make sure that they're pressed down. All right. And now my printing plate is ready to go. Get this trash out of the way. Now, the next step is to ink your printing plate. So what we're going to do is take our little cup of paint and our sponge, and I'm just going to kind of dip it gently flat into the paint just to cover one side of the sponge. I don't want it to be covered all over because I don't want to get paint all over my hands. It can also help just to kind of dab your sponge on the lid of your cup just to make sure that you've gotten off any excess paint and that you have a good even covering on your sponge. And then I'm going to take my sponge and just lightly, I'm going to dab over all of the foam. I'm going to try not to get this on the cardboard backing, but if I do, that's okay. But I'm really just trying to cover the foam part, not the cardboard backing. And if you need to get a little bit more paint, that's okay too. So I am just covering this. And you can see I'm getting a little bit on the cardboard backing, but if I'm careful, this probably won't transfer to my paper. Okay, and now the foam is nice and covered. It's a good even layer of paint. It's not too thick and not too thin. And then I'm going to take my colored construction paper and I'm going to just place it on top of my printing plate. It's a little bit more tricky to put your paper on the table and to put your plate on top. So I like to leave my plate right flat on the table and then put my paper on top of that. So I'm just going to gently set it on top and give it a little bit of a rub with my fingers to make sure we get a nice even transfer. You could also use the back of a spoon or a little soft roll with a rolling pin. Might also give you a good print. But I find that if I use my fingers that it works just fine. And I'm just working my way around the plate trying to make sure that all those foam shapes that I've stuck down have been pressed on to the paper well. And I can kind of feel where those are through the paper. And I know there's my stem. And now I'm ready to pick up my print. So I'm going to just lift from the edge, hold down the edge of my printing plate with my hand, and there's my print. It's easy to create a print inspired by nature in the style of Anna Heyward Taylor using really simple supplies. One of the advantages of printmaking is that you can make multiple images, multiple copies of the same image, without having to recreate this process. So in order to make another nature print, all I need to do is use my paint and my sponge, dab it again on my plate, and create another print. So look around the house and see if you have some scrap paper that you could use to create prints with. You might have junk mail or an old piece of newspaper or something that could create a fun background for your nature-inspired prints. You can turn those prints into individual works of art. They could become cards to send to your friends or family. But there's a lot of different ways that you could use your nature-inspired print to create something beautiful. Thanks so much for joining us.